Don't think healthcare professionals have any business experience? Think again. No topic is off limits as we share tales from our brave hosts who will always tell it like it is. We are #NoFilterHealthcare. Here to guide you through your healthcare journey are your hosts, Taylor Dunn and Tamara Dhanda. We want to thank our sponsor, Uptime Health, the leading healthcare equipment and compliance management software company, for bringing this podcast to fruition. Visit uptimehealth.com to learn more. Let's get started.
Welcome to #NoFilterHealthcare. I'm your co-host, Taylor Dunn.
And I'm your other co-host, Tamara Dhanda. And today we have our guest speaker, Paul Goodman, who is the founder of Dental Nacho and of Dentist Job Connect.
Really appreciate it. I love anyone who puts in the effort to do things like this. I think it's so valuable to create content that people can listen to, learn from at any time. And I really admire you two for doing this.
No, we're so happy to have you here. And we're going to start off with some fun stuff because, we
Sure.
love the concept of Dental Nacho. And so I have to start off. I want to hear your background, but I also want to learn about your unique nickname. Where did Dr. Nacho come from? We need to have the backstory.
Well, I was like a chubby little kid. I grew up in New Jersey. Whenever my parents would say, where do you want to go to eat? When we're out at the malls are very on brand New Jersey in the 80s. I would say Casa La Pita because I knew when you sat down, they would immediately give you free chips and salsa. So I always liked the food while we were waiting for the food. I really enjoyed that. So we went to Casa La Pita and I always enjoyed, sharing food and toppings. And I wound up working there as a 19-year-old in college. That was one of my serving careers where I worked at Casa La Pita, corporate place. They taught you so many great things about systems. So I've always enjoyed Mexican food. I always suggest going to El Vez in Philadelphia. We talk about the end, some of my favorite places. So when it came to start a Facebook group, like all the good ideas, my wife came up with a good one. I said, what should I call it? And I'm a dentist, I'm a speaker, I'm a broker. I do different things. So I said, we'll call it Dental Nachos, has different toppings. And then the real metaphor is nachos are meant to be shared. Nachos get messy. A really funny comedian says you would fight your grandmother for the last nacho chip on the plate. It's all fun and games in the beginning, right? But when it gets down to the end, so that is the message. I think dentistry needs more fun in it, and I'm hopefully glad that they'll be part of the solution to delivering that.
I love that. I was wondering about, how you tie it in, and it makes total sense to me.
Yeah, thanks.
Also, I love your branding. This is the first business card I have on my desk. It's literally a chip. So
I appreciate it. Yeah. That really gets, I'm like, we can talk about throughout, like, I believe there's a lot of new school things that are great, like doing podcasts and being on Zoom and FaceTime. And my favorite movie was Back to the Future. And look, it happened, right? They talk about FaceTime there and now it's here. But then I also love like paper, touching things, writing things down. And I do think there's value to business cards still. Every time I do the thing where people are tapping their phones, sometimes it never works, right? So sometimes I like to be able to hand that chip card out. And I'm really honored that you have it on your desk.
I do. Yeah, I think it's really cool. And it reminds me of you every time I look at it, which is the purpose of it, right?
Yeah, thanks. Exactly.
Good branding.
It is great branding. So tell us about Dental Nacho and also Dentist Job Connect. What are your businesses and what are you doing for the dental industry?
Awesome. There are two stories for that. I love stories. So I was walking on the street in Philadelphia. Someone shouts at me, "Hey, you, when you're in Philadelphia, Center City, you got to be ready for anything." Disgruntled Eagles fan, a tourist. I turned around. It was a 50-year-old woman with a confused look on her face. And she said, what is Dental Nachos? I said, fair question. You name your company after an appetizer. You got to answer some questions. So I said, Dental Nachos is like a Mr. Rogers neighborhood for dentists and people that work in dental offices because they are really good at being nice to patients, but they're not as good as being nice to each other. And also in the schools, we don't learn anything about business and how to succeed afterwards. So we teach them business, we teach them collaboration. Our motto is ABC to FLA, always be connecting to feel less alone. I think if you work in the dental field and other fields too, you can be surrounded by people, but still feel very lonely in those professions. I also think not everybody gets it because I was just asking, someone on my team asked, what is a myth about being a dentist that you didn't know as a kid? And one of my residents said, I thought the dentist just relaxed and walked around and checked your teeth for 2 minutes and then, went and had coffee. And you find out that I would say Dental Nachos helps you increase success, decrease stress, and reduce crying inside. This is the cry inside monster that I have here because us dentists and hygienists, no one wants to see our crying, right? You got to keep it on the inside part, sweating on the outside, crying on the inside. So Dental Nachos is like a Mr. Rogers neighborhood, a true community. It's a free community. People can be in our free park. We have sponsors outside of the park that share awesome things. That's how we create this community. We help the 4 major decisions that dental school doesn't talk about: finding a job, buying a practice, hiring an associate, and selling your practice. I know you're going to ask about our dental course I want to talk about, because I want to share that dental school focuses too much on just the clinical part. And then when you get out and start playing the game, I always like to say it's my backup dream. I wanted to play in the NBA. I'm holding a basketball. That didn't work out. You grow to this side, you need new dreams, right? So I kind of describe dental school, and maybe hygiene school is not too different, as like if you're playing basketball, they just teach you how to dribble. And you're like, what about passing or shooting? And they go, you don't learn that later. And then you go out to the real world, and it's all about passing, shooting, working as a team. So we look to fill in those gaps in those 4 major decisions. That's where Dentist Job Connect came from, really, with the finding of the job and the hiring of the associates, bonding dentists together. It's a dentist platform for dentists. I used it to create my own solution, because during the pandemic, one of my associates said, hey, guess what? Usually nothing good on the end of that sentence. And he said, my wife got into a medical residency in San Francisco. So I'm moving there in 3 months. And I said, hooray for her, cry inside for me. So I said, I got to create something to make this system better. And that's how Dentist Job Connect came. I have done recruiting, but it's a flat fee program modeled after care.com. You get to see all these awesome resumes. We do videos with people. Strive to make the process of hiring an associate dentist affordable, fun, and friction-free.
So you guys also have events too, right?
Yeah. I use this example. One time my wife was on the beach. So if you guys get a Nacho shirt, you're going to have to answer the question, right? So you can Mr. Rogers Neighborhood for Dentist, because people will say to you, I had a friend when this started, he was fishing, and like someone was on a bridge, and he goes, yo, guy. And he looks up, he goes, what is Dental Nachos, right? So I thought that was funny. I get asked that a lot when I'm wearing one of my shirts. And my wife described it once, and the guy goes, oh, it's kind of like Peloton for dentists, right? And we have in-person events, like an in-person studio. We hold this in Philadelphia. I just finished a webinar on how to make sure you get paid properly as an associate. So we produce live stream stuff, the fun of watching in live. And then we host it on our on-demand platform, the Dental Nacho Supreme. And there's so many different on-demand platforms. And ours is specifically not the fancy taco shop or like a gritty taco stand. It's affordable. It's not that expensive. It's right at the current time, it's only $399 for the year. Some platforms are that for the month, and people can learn, earn CE, come to our events. And what I find is many dental people, it's very interesting. Maybe you guys think, like, people have to talk to people all day. They can be quite introverted, right? As people, it's interesting, right? But I think when you do it on your terms, you're the hygienist, you're holding the scaler, you're the dentist, you're holding the drill. It's like an unequal relationship. But you ask these same people, oh, hey, come to this event with other people. They go, that is not what I do. I sit on my couch and watch Netflix and chill. I said, that sounds fun. But if you want to solve problems, you got to get your face out there, right? You got to get face to face. So I appreciate you asking. We have in-person, online, live stream events to hopefully create a world where people can find out solutions to their challenges in life that they might not find out otherwise.
Yeah, you're completely filling in the gaps. That's the perfect way to explain it, because we have talked about this in other episodes as well, where, it's very true that dentists are supposed to run their own practice, but they have no business experience and they don't know where they're spending money wrong. They might be bleeding money every month and have absolutely no idea. And so you're able to kind of address it and tell them what they need to fix in order to be more successful, maybe free up more time in their schedule. Yeah. So be more efficient. But I also love that, you can be a part of Dental Nacho, the Facebook group, and it's free, and you can just have meaningful conversations with other like-minded people. And it's truly like a community that you've built. And I think it's really great. So I appreciate what you've done.
My legacy, or whatever you call it, I really am proud of this. There's people that are meeting each other out there in the real world that I will never meet, that just because of Dental Nachos. They go, oh, you're a nacho dentist in Chicago. And it actually gives me like a little bit of chills, because I love that people can meet each other in real life through this crazy free Facebook group or community. And I think that's so cool, because the feeling of being alone, whether you're 4 or 54, it's a terrible feeling.
You're a connector. So I
Yeah.
love what you're doing. Well, let's bring it back to what you mentioned before. I really want to talk about, you've developed something called like the dentist core. Can you
Yeah.
elaborate a little bit on what this means and why it's
I
important?
brought a prop back here. So I brought my 20-pound dumbbell so when I was 16, people would just do bench press and bicep curls to work out. This is in the 80s or 90s. And we found out that's a pretty terrible way to get your body in shape, right? Giant muscle, giant biceps, skinny little legs, right? So over time, they said, you got to do core activities. You got to do cardio, got to work on your core, the orange theories of the world. So in dentistry, I think the dental core is your hand skills, your clinical skills, your mind skills, your business and thinking skills. Most important, your verbal skills, your word skills, and the center of it, you're like your heart skills, right? So I talk about your mind skills, your word skills, your clinical skills, your heart skills. And you got to work on all parts of those together, not just taking 15 courses on how to do better crowns and 0 courses on how to develop a team, right? And I think dentists, because that's all they talk about in dental school, it's super normal, but also causes a lot of super stress and really actually times total disasters in dentists' lives by not really filling out their dentist core the right way.
I mean, I think that translates to the medical industry too, not
Yeah.
just dental. I think there is a part of when you go to medical school, you are missing that piece of, just communicating with patients efficiently, communicating internally with your team. So I think it's a great concept and it makes sense to me. One other thing, so you were touching a little bit on this, but so your website also talks about education. We talked about your events, but your training for dentists. So with your honest, no filter response here, what's one of the biggest mistakes you see dentists that are kind of repeatedly making, which can sometimes lead to potentially negative impacts for patients?
I love this question. It's a two-part answer for this. One is being way too hashtag dentist cheap on investing in themselves, way too cheap. And what's wild about this is that they will invest $400,000 or $500,000 in dental school, but when they graduate, you say, "Hey, why don't you take this $4,000 course that will transform your life? Why don't you invest in this $4,000 service that will free up more time? Why don't you invest in this $500 a month thing so your office manager doesn't want to cry every day and think, oh, I can't afford that, right?" So one is being too cheap on investing in yourself. That's one for sure. And the second part is not spending the time, energy, effort, and money into developing a team that has your back throughout your career. Dental focused attorneys, dental focused accountants, coaches. I had Dr. Lincoln Harris, Right Global. People say, Paul, you have a big Facebook group. We're about to pass 50,000. His is 90,000, Right Global. And I asked people at the end of their interviews with me, what's one thing you wish you did sooner? And he said, I wish I got coaching sooner. I wish I got coaching sooner. I didn't have to do all this all myself. I was miserable. I wasn't making money. My morale was down. I wish I got coaching sooner. So when people see these people that they think have made it, like a Dr. Lincoln Harris, and he says, I wish I put people on my team sooner. That's my thing. Too cheap in investing in your core and not developing the team.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can relate to that a little bit just from the coaching perspective, which you touched on. So, I was, I've been developing a partnership program for Uptime Health, and it's a work in progress every single day. We're improving it every single day. And I'm doing that because of experiences of other people, what my colleagues in the industry have gone through, and we all collaborate and we coach each other. And because someone else has already figured it out. So why sit there and waste your time trying to do it on your own when you can lean on your peers? So
I totally agree with you. I add in when you pay attention. So like there's a certain point where people have to take some of their peers and say, hey, there's this person that helps me with team management and they charge $999 a month for 4 months. And someone goes, I'm going to explore that, because if you talk to really successful people, it's usually the unlock to a world that you want. And it might not be more money. It might just be more morale. It might not be better EBITDA. It might be more time with your kids. So really appreciate you asking that question.
Yeah. And then you kind of almost lean into, you have these free resources that you are like, okay, this is it for me. I'm going to be able to give somebody something good and very valuable, right? For free.
Yeah.
And to me, I think, oh my God, your Facebook group is like the place to go ask those questions. right? And so you're able to go in and, talk to other people and almost read reviews too on products and services and other, consultants that are out there. I mean, it's just like literally a silver platter of all the
Right.
information that you need, right? And so tell me about how you started this group, because I am like screaming with joy, like seeing the amount of reach that you have. And not only that, I know companies are probably like itching at the bit
I
to try
appreciate
and
it. I mean, we have sponsors of the group. I want to create something that's affordable and awesome. I don't want it to lose the feel of like walking around a fun exhibit hall, talking to friends. But you all know, I use this example. You go to the gym with your friend and you just talk all the time and you leave and you didn't work out. That wasn't good. You go to the gym with your friend and you go, I just have to do bicep curls. I can't talk to you. That's not good either. So I want to create this blended world where you could learn while having fun. I myself, I mean, I always say I graduated dental school in 2002. If Tamara, tell you, if my friends didn't know it, I had a Hotmail account and a flip phone. If my 4 friends didn't know the answer, I'd be like, I guess we're out of luck. So I tell these people, you're so lucky that this exists. And there's other groups that I go into. I have a review platform that I found through another group. I've connected with people. So it started because I want to create a place to have conversations in a way that I could curate them. I have this way. It's my way. It's not the way, but I always have like, you can challenge ideas. You can't attack people. Challenge ideas. You can't attack people. You disagree with respect. Lead with curiosity, like Ted Lasso said. And like, there's some refereeing. I referee. My wife's a retired kindergarten teacher. Sometimes I feel like that. And people go, I'm just being honest. I go, well, just be less honest. Nobody's interested in all of your yelliness right now, right? I mean, you're at a party, people, so I also like, maybe it's how I grew up with not having it, but like, this is all free, like you said, right? And I always say CCAF, you can't complain about free. Gary Vee is one of the people I love. Anyone who complains about Facebook or Instagram, and I've done it at times, but I am a crazy person. Facebook is free. Dental Nachos is free. No complaints. If you don't like it, just don't be on Facebook. And I always say, if you don't enjoy the group, don't spend time on it. So I really appreciate that. It's to create the conversations. And we talk about dentists with ADHD. We talk about depression. We talk about the challenges of being a parent. And I strive to have a platform for having what is uncomfortable conversations that lead to growth, like my friend Dr. Mark Costa says. So I really appreciate that, Tamara.
And really just thinking about the name makes me so hungry. I know we've talked about nachos. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I've got to tell my husband to like get some nachos on the way home. Like I need it.
I always said it. You know what's funny about the dental people? And like, weirdly, like I'll get a sponsor for like digital x-rays and I'll get a deal on the digital x-rays. You would think like, who could have a problem with this? Dentist, that's who, right? They go, you're just trying to sell me something. I go, first of all, you don't have to buy any of it. And not but, if I got a sponsor on like Chipotle discount or like Lululemon or like AHA discounts, people would say, I don't care what you do, Paul, sell my information to anyone. I don't sell people's information just for but like people are very odd about how like, I believe like email is becoming like the new mail because like you get mailers. We market with mailers and they work well, right? We have a nice mailer. But I'm assuming sometimes people get my mailer and just freaking throw it in the trash. They don't call me up and yell at me, right? But sometimes with email, people will be like, how people email me, I go, you could just unsubscribe at the bottom, right? We spent more time talking about this. Like I've signed up for freaking random emails from Guy Fieri's trash can nachos. It's up to me, right? I bought those before, so I appreciate you saying that. But maybe I do need some nacho sponsors, and the group would like that, like real nachos, Chipotle.
Just lean in with a Chipotle deal, and then be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
here's all your dental stuff."
Yeah. Oh, you want to give me your email now? I'm shocked, right?
That's awesome. But really, as a final question, how do you see the dental industry changing? I know, like everybody's talking about AI.
I'll talk about this.
Tell me
I don't know if you have small humans live in your house like I do, otherwise known as children. But parenting is awesome and it's annoying. Parenting is amazing and it's exhausting. I think it's one of the best things, not the best thing that's ever happened to me, having children. And I also can totally see why people don't want to have children. And I can see both of those worlds really, really clearly. And part of my life is the JBN is just be nice, is not, attack people on the group, but to just be real is I think there's some serious concerns happening in our profession. And one of the things that I'll share is, as a 45-year-old dentist, 20 years in, I think what dentistry can do has never been better. We can give people brand new teeth. We can do clear aligners. We can make people feel better about their smile. We have technology to make the procedures less painful and faster. So dentistry is awesome. The life of a dentist, I believe, is under attack. It's under attack by dental insurance companies paying dentists less for work that costs more. If I put extra calories in your favorite food, you probably would be annoyed with me. When dental insurances send me letters saying they're going to pay me 20% less next year, imagine going to someone who loves you in your house and say, hey, I'm just going to love you 20% less next year. You cool with it? I think the massive dental school debt, I'm not an economist, but I think that the fact that dental school debt is very, very high. I think that we're still a profession where people really don't want to see us. So I think we really now more than ever have to be super intentional about navigating our careers, because burning out is happening to people. Burning out's like periodontal disease. There's different levels of it. I'm having someone speak on this. So I think that we can say, if someone said being a parent is awesome, but it's also exhausting, people go, yep, that's exactly what it's like. But for some reason, when I say in my group, hey, everybody, there's some not so great things about dentistry, they go, stop being negative. And I think the real reason people saying that means we need to talk more about it. So that is my thing. I think there's amazing things happening. I think there's awesome opportunities. I think there's serious concerns with dentistry and the life of dentists and the team members that live there. I think we should talk about it more, taco about it more to make it better.
Oh, now I'm really hungry. You got me.
Yeah, you can't just, pretend that these problems don't exist and then hope that they go.
I say this with, how many times do we not pay attention to how stressed out our grandmothers were, and it was bad, right? Or even our own moms, right? We just I said a thing on a podcast early on, the morale of the person holding the drill to prep your crown should matter to everybody. The morale of my doctors matters to me. I probably didn't pay enough close attention. Like, doctors have been having their lives really impacted by insurance for years. Have we cared enough? I probably haven't cared enough. And we should just stop and talk about it, and in an authentic way, with making things better, but also a way that makes people feel heard and seen for the real challenges.
Yeah, every industry is dealing with these things, right? There's always a problem in every industry. So just knowing that there's other people in your corner to help you, AKA Facebook group, guys, get started there. But really, really awesome conversations today.
So,
you guys are awesome.
Paul, I have a quick question about your Facebook group. I'm just not familiar with how you can run a Facebook group. So forgive me if this is just not possible at all, but is there a way to kind of track the types of topics that are being asked within the Facebook group, to be able to say, okay, out of the last 6 months, these have been the hot topics that we really need to address in our education and training?
I love this question. I mean, you made me inspired and frustrated myself. What I should be doing more, and you can do this to help any social media content. This is really something we all should do. I believe, I have a couple extra minutes if you guys don't stop right there. It's I believe that we're going to be really disappointed that we didn't organize a lot of this as a society better in 2023. I believe our kids are going to be like, what the heck? You're just freaking posting on random sites, and we're never going to be able to and grab it. So what we all can do is hashtag things. So if you made a thing about burnout problem, or you made a thing about insurance, and I'm glad you said this. I'm going to tell my team, we should be hashtagging dental insurance, because you can search hashtags. So the topic should be hashtagged, but it's up to the creator of the post to do that. You can save collections of posts for your own viewing. I tell people who are associates that are having problems, a Job Connect post, I say, hey, make sure you create a little collection that says Job Connect. But I love that. Hashtagging would be the way to go. We all should do it. You make a post about family tips, you should put hashtag family on Instagram, because that means if someone searches hashtag family, your content will come up.
Yeah, I would encourage it definitely in the Facebook community, because then it allows you to kind of just see what those hot topics are, and then address them in your educational efforts that you're putting forward in Dental Nachos. So
totally
awesome. This was really great. I really appreciate your time. Last thing I need to know, do you have a secret nacho recipe, or what's your favorite place to get nachos?
My favorite place Yeah,
from your
Elvez in
childhood?
Philadelphia. Elvez in Philadelphia is my top place, but there's many places here. I'm lucky to be married to someone who does all of the creating of awesome things to eat in our house. I just make the medium to funny jokes in our house. I think I'm more valuable. So Mary has a lot of good. You can reach out to me or Mary at Dental Nachos. She makes the nachos where like each chip has like even distribution of toppings. It's almost like a little nacho plate within a chip, and they're very excellent. So she's great. But Elvez in Philadelphia, if you come to Philadelphia, you got to check it out.
That sounds great. Well, thank you for your time today. We loved having you on today's episode. If you want to learn more about Dental Nachos or Dentist Job Connect, visit dentalnachos.com and dentistjobconnect.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below if you have any questions for us. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks so much, guys.